Hi everyone, welcome to the Navigant Credit Union Broadcast Center. I'm GoLocal News Editor Kate Nagel. Thanks for tuning in this Friday noontime to kick off your weekend as we usually do. Welcome former state representative, former deputy secretary of state, now heads up Stages of Freedom, Ray Rickman, to give his big view.
So they think that the governor, or they know, of Virginia did something extraordinarily racist in med school. And he said that this wasn't him when he was in the military, and it wasn't him kind of before, and it wasn't him as a practicing doctor or as a legislator or as governor. It's not him. He was only racist probably in med school. Now, I'm getting a kick out of this because there was an editor of that yearbook, and someone pasted it up. I worked on my high school yearbook, and you had to paste it up in the old days. It was really a process, and there were 7 or 8 of us involved in it, and people brought their stuff in, and the whole class was involved. And of course, the principal of our school went through it to see what was in it. Now, you won't believe this. The yearbook in my school was called the Aryan. So, that's hard to believe, but it's true. And I was part of the ACLU effort to get the yearbook names changed, but I digress. Back to business. So the whole class and the teachers and everybody was in on the yearbook, and everyone saw everything was in it. And if you used a nickname, they'd say, "You sure you want to use that nickname? You don't want to be called Buddy later, do you?" You with me? This is a society in which he did something horrendous and it was okay. It was normal. It was expected. There were hundreds of people in on it. And now we're going around gasping that this racist act could take place. And he's saying it's really not him. And then on Facebook and other such places, Rhode Islanders are saying it was youthful indiscretion. Well, that was a time in which people still got married at 22 years old. And he's a medical doctor. 2 weeks after that comes out, he's an adult. He's not a kid. But even if he were a 12-year-old, he would know what it meant to do that kind of heavy black face and to dress in a Klan robe and to process it into his page. He would know if he were 8 years old. And if he didn't, somebody would tell him along the way. My sister is a psychologist, school counselor, and she works in an all-white school in St. Clair. I'm sorry, someone's going to check on me. She works in a school that's 99.5% white in St. Clair, Michigan, outside of Detroit. One of those white suburbs, all white suburbs. You know, a place like Barrington used to be 10 years ago, all white. And she works there, and every year there are 10 of these incidents where white kids put on blackface and they send them to see her, black woman, and she tells them how inappropriate it is, and they say, "My mother didn't say anything, and I wore this at Halloween, and then I wore it the day before," and my sister says, "Well, it's November, what are you wearing it for now?" And then they have a dialogue about it. These are 10-year-olds, and you can dialogue with a 10-year-old. Youthful indiscretion, but still racism. Still racism. So, I don't just, I'm not a reporter, so I'm not reporting the news. I'm commenting on it. This is an essay from me to you. I think this would be fabulous. We have an anti-race week. Whole week. In our lifetime. Right now. Right through Valentine's Day and then beyond. You ready? We sit down with our family over dinner today or this weekend and talk about what racism is, and that everybody who's called a racist gets upset and doesn't want to be one. So how do you not be one? That's one. So I tell people, go read Dr. King's Where Do We Go From Here, his book, because I think a lot of people barely know what racism is. They deny it. They are not. And if they did something, it's not them. We had a school teacher do something horrendous lately, and it's not who she is. I love that line. It's not who I am. Yes, it is. It's who you are. Finally, when I was a kid, I liked the Republicans slightly better than the Democrats because the Democrats had Stennis and Eastland and Wallace, and we had all those Southerners, and they were officially racist, segregationists. They didn't play. There were no games. Lyndon Johnson, when he signed the Civil Rights Act, he says, "Here goes the South for 8 generations." Lyndon was right. And the Republican Party picked up all these races who used to be Democrats in the 60s, 50s, 40s, going backward. There are racists in our midst. There are people who've always been racist. There are law firms with no black employees. Okay? Racism exists. Quit being surprised by it and do something about it. Where do we go from here?